And I was really floored that every business actually has to have a license to operate. And I was really shocked that there's so many businesses that are actually afraid to stand up and do something, because they're afraid that they're going to not get their license and they're not going to be able to operate. And when we have average citizens that are afraid to do business and afraid to operate and afraid to run, and we're afraid of government, then we have a problem. And we have let government overtake us and overrun us. And we all need to stand up. And there is a time for civil disobedience. And civil disobedience is not, a call to violence. It's a call to disobey the rules. So I call for everyone to basically just open up and not listen. We can do this and be safe.
Good morning. Welcome to Talking Racine. We'll be back in a minute. We've got a special guest that I'm going to talk to in the next room for just a few minutes, and then we'll be back with you. So sit tight. Morning. We have a little something different here this morning for you. Talking Racine has been having guests every once in a while, and this morning we have a guest by the name of Sandy Morris. Sandy Morris is here because she is a plaintiff in a lawsuit, and the lawsuit is against, I believe, Dottie Bowersox, correct?
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, Dottie Bowersox is what the heck is she anyway? She's in charge of the county health department or city health department?
The city health department.
Yeah. So why did you file a suit against Dottie Bowersox? Because
she is violating our constitutional rights, and mainly she's violating my constitutional rights.
So this is all about part of the shutdown, the drawback, the repression.
Yes,
that's taking place in conjunction with the coronavirus.
Correct. I do not believe that they had rights to do that. I believe that we had the ability to do this ourselves. I believe actually that our legislatures need recalled also, because I believe that they should have argued that this was unconstitutional instead of arguing that it was violating that rule. And if they would have argued correctly, so I think we all need to recall them, if they would have argued correctly, we would not be in this position where they could have locked us down.
Well, the interesting thing to me is they are arguing back and forth and they're creating chaos. I mean, this is a point in time where, as if this is a genuine crisis situation, they should be cooperating, and they're not. So what they're doing is one side is arguing this, the other side is arguing that, and they're creating a lot of uncertainty in the minds of the public, and there's a complete inconsistency in public policy. People don't know if they're violating the law when they go out, or if they're just violating an advisement, if they have some kind of legal obligation to do what they're supposed to be doing according to the local government, or if they don't have an obligation. And I think your lawsuit is probably going to galvanize public opinion a little bit, and people are going to want some answers.
Correct. Well, I mean, for me, I don't understand how they can pick and choose what can be open and what can't. For one thing, like I can go to Home Depot and I can go to Target, but I can't go to have a drink at a bar, or I can't go to a local store. I can only go to where they tell me to go to. So that doesn't make sense, that, they can decide what is essential and what isn't essential. And if you look at the numbers, I mean, like they're saying no gathering more than 25 people. Well, there's more than 25 people at one time in Target or in Home Depot. So if they're going to apply this, they need to apply it equally. So if they're going to apply this to, say, a church, then they need to apply it to Home Depot and Target and to all these other places, Costco, whatever. They need to apply this equally and broadly to everyone. I mean, they
Yeah.
can't pick and choose. And like, say, a local bar or a local retailer, there's not even going to be 25 people.
But when they started making these mandates, with the inconsistency that it's been given, it makes it very, very difficult for people to comply, and not just comply physically, in other words, going out and interacting with the world, but it's difficult to comply because it doesn't make any sense in your mind.
Correct.
Let me just ask you here how you got involved in this, because you came about this in sort of a roundabout way. It's not like you're a troublemaker looking for a situation where you can insert yourself and start shouting on a public platform. I know that you're a citizen who's mindful of how the government and the citizenry interact, but you're not somebody who looks for trouble. My understanding is that this kind of came and fell in your lap. Is that an accurate assessment?
Yes. I am very much a mindful, law-abiding citizen. I respect the cops, and I respect government. I believe that government should operate the way that the Constitution and the Bill of Rights have designed it to. I am a veteran, so I served in the Navy for right at 4 years. I was a Navy wife, and I have 2 children that went to the Naval Academy, and they're now serving as officers. So I very much value education. And then I believe that people should step up, and average people with good character and good morals that want government to operate the way it should
You
stand
know what I like about
up,
your lawsuit?
and patriots should stand up.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody should stand up right now for the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and for civil rights, and to not be controlled. And this is the time to do it. We need to look at our cemeteries. We need to look at our veterans, the people that have lost their limbs, maybe lost their family, because divorce is very high in the military. Look at even things that we can't count, that, we can't monetize, that veterans and people in the military give up. We need to look at those costs and realize that freedom's not free, and we need to stand up and kick these people out of government and take our government back.
Mm-hmm. Well, I started to say what I like about this suit that you brought is that it's got a local focus.
It does.
I mean, when you start looking at, like, we got to fix Washington, D.C., it's overpowering. But when you look at what can I do locally, what can I do in my community, what can I do in my neighborhood, in my town, I think that's where people can make a difference. And I think what you're doing is going to make a difference. And I think a lot of people that are watching this are going to talk about this. They're going to get what you're doing. They're going to share it with their neighbors. I know this is going to be on Hot Government on the website. And, when you study this up a little bit, get familiar with Sandy and what she's doing, and get engaged. Get engaged. Isn't that what you would recommend to them?
Yeah. Think critically, get engaged. And I was really floored that every business actually has to have a license to operate. And I was really shocked that there's so many businesses that are actually afraid to stand up and do something, because they're afraid that they're going to not get their license and they're not going to be able to operate. And when we have average citizens that are afraid to do business and afraid to operate and afraid to run, and we're afraid of government, then we have a problem. And we have let government overtake us and overrun us. And we all need to stand up. And there is a time for civil disobedience. And civil disobedience is not a call to violence. It's a call to disobey the rules. So I call for everyone to basically just open up and not listen. We can do this and be safe. We can wash our hands. We can socially distance. We can care for ourselves. We can care for other people.
Tune in and follow Sandy. follow Talking Racine, follow Hot Government, and it'll make a difference in your life. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being here. Well, I think you are probably impressed by that woman. I was. George?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's fireball.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Jim, you too,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. No, and there's an interview.
I
that
had to
we
get your
did-
names in there, George
right,
and
I
Jim,
got it.
just in case. Yeah.
But there's an interview on hot government,
You're
more of an in-depth interview. So
Yeah.
we can tap into that. We'll share it on our page.
Yeah, run over to Hot Government if you want to see it
the whole
directly,
thing,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then we'll
Things are happening. The point is,
absolutely.
this is a growing movement. Like almost a resurrection. It's good to
Well,
see.
she files a suit. She becomes a plaintiff for Racine, and then there was a health a fitness center that filed a lawsuit also to open up this safe at home order from the city, and so it has definitely brought up people to the forefront, and they're questioning the whole Racine lockdown that is happening in Racine City, but not happening in Kenosha, and quite a bit of the other areas are opening up.
And unfortunately, we're not finding much support. Not too many good guys in the Racine. I mean, I was really surprised to see Chief Art Howells, Chief of Police, his position on this. I thought he'd be more concerned about constitutional rights than Dottie Bowersox's rulings or her overreach.
I mean, some people are overly concerned. Some people are not concerned enough, and other people don't know what the hell to do. So I think that's how you end up with people giving advice based on they don't know what to do. So they hear somebody else give an opinion, and I'm hoping that's what Chief Howell is doing. He's like, well, this is a city policy.
This is exactly why what Sandra was talking about. If you go over and listen to her thing, it's up to us. We're the ones that have to take the data and make the decisions. They can't come. The chief and Dottie Bowersox and the mayor do not know more about your business and what you should be doing than you do. That's just the way it works. And when those three decide they're going to decide for the 50, 60, 70,000 of us, what each of us should be doing with our lives, they're going to make a lot more mistakes than we will. We may not make perfect decisions, but we'll do better decision making than they will about our own lives. And that's what the free country's all about. And when they don't trust us, look out, because when you don't trust the government that trusts you, when you try and follow a government that doesn't trust you, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, I think what we've talked about before on the program, and I want to reemphasize it right now, is the fact that this is being looked upon as an opportunity, from our perspective, by Corey Mason and his followers to seize greater control, make some pronouncements.
It's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
he's enjoying it.
He's doing things that are not following protocol, and he's using this emergency as justification for the way he's running this show. And it's just
to close our businesses down. Tell us what to do. Exert control over our lives.
I got a question.
And this is the way stupid people operate, by the way. Anybody with any intelligence.
Well, that brings up my question. Here's what I'm just thinking to myself. There had to be a meeting. You had the chief of police, you had the mayor, you had his staff, you had the health director, probably the attorney, maybe finance. So they're all in this room.
right.
So they're having this meeting.
That's a scary thought.
Just the five of them.
Yeah. And you're thinking, what went on in that meeting to be able to come out with this, basically this opening, but to actually come in and cite you, to put you in, humiliate you on Facebook if you don't. I mean, who does this?
Well, I volunteered to go on Facebook.
I mean,
No. If you can imagine their meeting, it's going to be slow. It's going to be and
You know what it reminds me of,
There's going to be a whole bunch of stupidity thrown out in the middle.
It's just like,
and see which pile of whatever you want to call it should we smell and go by.
I'm telling you, I think it's the emperor has no clothes. Corey's got this control here. You've got department heads that are just looking at him now, and he's saying this crazy stuff that is almost elementary, and the emperor has no clothes. Absolutely, that's a great idea. Very good. And I think that's what you're at. I mean, the city of Racine has degraded itself down.
We may be in the safest community in the country.
But in the process, you have businesses, you have individuals who suffer, and they don't understand that.
Well, they don't, and
they
can't. They don't see us as people. They see us, like a cowboy looks at his herd. Everybody's supposed to be. It's watering time. We're going to move them all over
and that's
this
I
way.
think exactly what Corey's got this following, that he just inoculates like that herd, and they just come out and go after it. There's no thought process whatsoever.
Well, there's no consideration that there's any individual out there. There's somebody out there with a dream, with a family, with a goal, with purpose, and he's got a life he wants to live, and he's anxious to get out there and do it. No, you're not that. Just we'll give you food and water. That's what they consider essential.
Well, no, George, they give you a check. They give you money.
Some money.
That's what I was just
We'll
gonna
make
bring
sure
up.
you have food and water.
But these 4 pages here, these are all businesses in Racine that have received financial assistance from the city. I don't know, where does the city get the money to do this?
Well, they're taking it out
That
of
came from
it's a federal
something from the
program?
federal government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But who decides who gets this money? I know for a fact that there are people who have applied for assistance who didn't receive it.
Correct. We've actually gotten calls. We've got actually a lot of response from businesses that said, we've applied, we didn't get anything. There should be a policy, correct? If I'm going to give you money, my money is going to go to Doc, and you're going to dispense it. There should be a policy of how that money is dispensed.
Yeah, there should be a policy for making up this
There's
list.
no policy with this. There is
That's
a
what I'm
policy,
afraid of.
but it's not being followed. Corey Mason decides who gets it, who doesn't get it. If you're a follower of Corey Mason, you get the money. If you don't follow Corey Mason, you don't get the money. I mean, this is tyranny. That's a good.
That's really bad. And I did recognize a couple of them, and I recognized them as Democrats. I knew they were liberal leaning, and I wasn't too surprised.
Yeah.
And I noticed that someone who's more in the libertarian branch, her shop didn't get squat.
No. And they're not going to, because again, who dictates this? We dictate that because, well, we don't like you, so you don't get the money.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's not the way it should be. I mean, if you're using public funds to curry favor or whatever.
But this is what I talk about.
It's an illegal use of public trust.
Absolutely. And if that's what I talk about, when you're in this meeting with these department heads and police chief, what kind of meeting is this?
By the way, I'm going to just throw in something here real quick. We've heard a lot about corruption and how all corruption, I'm beginning to find out, is not necessarily illegal.
Correct.
This is corruption,
Yeah.
and it doesn't happen to be illegal. I mean, he could just hand out the favoritism like that.
Yeah.
There's no law against it. There was no law guiding it.
I think there probably is a law against it, but I mean, you need more evidence than this.
No,
And the few stories that we've heard. But I firmly believe that something illegal is happening here. I really do.
I
don't have time to dig it out. I'm not a detective. But,
Well, it could be just the mayor's to make a decision on who gets it, and that's could be the simple guideline. Pick out the businesses.
Yeah. And if you don't follow if you're not in my inoculated herd,
Yeah, well, that's right, and those people that have been staying out of trouble, keeping their nose clean, or browning it with the mayors, whatever.
This is how low Racine has come.
yeah.
Now let's just take another chance.
They got the payoff now.
Exactly.
It was worthwhile. It was
This
worthwhile.
is exactly what there's a payoff. Now let's take Racine. Let's take Kenosha. Kenosha has completely opened everything up. There is no citations. There's no shaming on Facebook. There's no putting you in stocks and having tomatoes.
Yeah, I was just
thrown
down
at
in
you.
Kenosha recently. Yeah.
I mean, it's completely
It didn't collapse
wide
on me.
open.
The streets were all still
But
there.
think about this. Think about Kenosha's policies that have gone on for the last 20 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Look at Racine's policies that have gone on for the last 20 years. Look at the two cities.
Yeah, no,
I think that pretty much tells you.
it makes just no sense. And those 5 people that met, they have no concept that there's actual people out there.
Yeah, clueless. They think that they're all under this thing. We're going to keep you safe. Well, you're not going to be able to keep me safe. If I do something that is not safe, what are you going to do? Follow me around? You expect a business owner to follow you around? It all comes down to educating. If you don't want to stop smoking, do a stop smoking educational program. Don't go in and follow them around and pull cigarettes out of their mouth.
That's right. And life itself is risky.
Exactly.
It's risky once you get out of bed. And you know what? Also risky if you stay in bed. So, so like I say, life is just that way. You know, hundreds of millions of people leave work and go out shopping, whatever, in automobiles, and 100 of them every day don't come home. You know, it's risky. And if there were no risk, and I've heard this from a medical doctor, then there would be no life. Because the body kind of needs that type of thing to keep moving. It can't just live in a static state with no challenges and nothing
Something's
going on.
got to scare you once in a while, right?
Right.
Well, yeah, that's right.
Heart
Yeah.
pumping.
Yeah.
A little bit of stress is a good thing.
That's right, Jim. It keeps the heart going. Every once in a while, you need that adrenaline.
I got
to
another
get through
thing.
the body. You know.
All right, this is one. Now we've heard from the health director and the mayor and the police chief. One we haven't heard of is our the one of the legal aspect. Scott
Oh
Ledney.
yeah, that's a good.
Where's
that's
Scott
a good
Ledney
point.
on this?
Good point. Yeah.
Now you got these lawsuits pouring in, and they keep coming. And
How did that happen, for crying out loud? I mean, he's supposed to be the watchdog. He's supposed to be the guy that makes sure everything is on the up and up.
Exactly. We're going to start hearing from him. I'm sure he was one of those 5 people.
Oh,
there. You mentioned him.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So
he
he's-
was. I did see his name in the paper with regards to the lawsuit on Dottie Bowersox. Something about saying no, this is going no place.
no, right?
And-
everything goes
Yeah,
no,
no
place.
place.
in the city,
And the
yeah.
Journal Times pointed out, well, he said the same thing when they challenged the Governor Evers thing, and that got overturned. So maybe it
And
might
Sandy
go someplace,
Winder's
Scott.
case, wasn't that just fed
Yeah,
back to
yeah,
him?
yeah.
And did they just
Yeah.
move that to another?
No, I tell you.
What about the bar lawsuit?
I mean, this guy's a loser.
Well,
He's a loser attorney. He should be out of Racine.
The city hall is dominated by incompetence, and I'm sorry to say, but it looks like it's backed up by incompetence on the city council. They went
Yeah.
13-2 in voting for the
Absolute joke.
Bowersox
Yeah.
ruling and her regulation. By the way, this practice of being ruled by these scientists is very, very old. It goes back to the witch doctors and the shamans and the
Well, now wait a minute.
Yeah.
Galileo
And-
was a scientist, you know.
Well, when science got away from politics, you know, when it was controlling of the tribe, then it was legitimate. But now we're going back to where they now tell us what to do with all their scientific facts, and they don't. You know, science is the study, finding out what's going on in the physical
so
universe.
scientists
They
aren't
still
really-
don't know. They still don't know. I haven't got it all figured out. That's why they continue scientisting. That's why they're so studying. So they're giving us these unfinished products of what we think is going on. They're telling and trying to rule you, and they do it with fear.
Wait, the scientists are not trying to rule, though. What's
They're
happening?
doing that. What do you mean they're trying? They are
No,
ruling.
no.
Have you listened?
Politicians are trying to rule, and they're trying to use science as a basis for their
Well, the
ruling.
scientists are. Dottie Bowersox is the one running the place.
But I'll
now.
tell you what, I don't think Dottie is in this room again, like, oh, yes, mayor, yes, mayor. I mean...
No, she's not. She's not doing that.
You don't think so?
She's telling the mayor. Mayor's saying, "What should we do,
I don't
Dottie?"
think so, George. I think the mayor is pushing every button, and I think Dottie's just like, okay, you know.
Well, we'll find out when it's all over. We'll go.
yeah.
We'll get over to
We'll
Dottie.
find out.
Dottie, who was running the show?
Yeah.
I think Dottie's going to say, "I was telling him what
You got
to
the
do."
police
He didn't know
chief up there.
squat.
I mean,
know.
come on.
I'm the one that knows
The
everything.
police chief's going to put you on Facebook for crying out loud. Really? I mean, where are we going? Well,
I want to be on Facebook. I want to be, take my picture. I'll even wear an orange jumpsuit. If I can borrow one, and I'll come out as a guy who's
It's so
opposed to the policies that this corrupt government has
Oh my
instituted.
God! You're going to follow around people. Run in a bar. There's 15 people in there. Oh my God! We got to arrest half these people.
Well,
Keep us
that's what
like
they're
this.
talking about
Yeah.
doing, though.
I mean, how do you do
no,
this?
but wait.
I don't want to go to a bar. Can they come to my porch and take a picture of me?
They're doing better than that. They want the neighbors to call.
Oh
them,
yeah,
tell
yeah.
them.
They want
Oh,
to-
yeah.
That's the latest.
Yeah.
Now we're really getting deep into
it's
fascism.
just-
It's folks.
Way over the top.
Yeah, it's.
I knew it was crazy. I didn't think it was going to go this crazy. I mean, common sense just flew.
I
out.
didn't know. I
Hold
did
on to
not-
your hat, because crazy ain't even showed up in the room yet, as far as I'm concerned. It's
Oh,
gonna
boy.
get
That-
real
that-
wacky
now
if
that's
we're not
scary.
careful.
Oh my God!
I'm
don't
telling
think
you,
anymore.
there's a lot more room for crazy,
I don't know.
but we've had enough of it.
Well, yeah, it could get
Yeah.
worse. That's true. And right now it's
Yeah.
turning around. When the Supreme Court ruled that Commander Evers could not continue with his Safer at Home project and keeping everybody away from work and away from their lives, That was an interesting step. I thought that was very interesting, and they flat out ruled that when that 30 days was up, his orders came to an end. And it was funny. The Republicans said, "Yeah, but we need another 8 or 9 days. Could you throw that in your ruling?" And they said,
Oh, yeah.
"No. Well, what are you talking about? We don't make law. You
Right.
make the law." We said his ruling is over.
It is such a nightmare,
And
George.
one of the judges called that judge activism. I said, that's not activism. They just said,
Yeah, this is the law.
your rule is over. It would have been activism to figure out how they could do it for the next 9 days. That would have been judicial activism. No, that was a good, clean-cut ruling. It's unconstitutional. You're done. And essentially opened up Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And then people like Corey Mason, and the other idiots, a few other idiots. Kenosha was in there for a little while, but,
Yeah.
but I'm glad to hear it.
Was
They
he in a
finally
subtle
let
way
something done.
calling the mayor an idiot?
I think he was.
Who called him an idiot?
Somebody we know.
I didn't.
Listen, we got one other thing
But I
left.
won't argue with anybody if they say that.
We are ruled by idiot. Right now we are ruled by very, very incompetent people. Let's leave it at that.
Right.
Yeah.
We are.
Okay.
This is it.
I think you people have seen enough of us for today. But there'll be more of us next week. So come back. Thank you for being here.